Tonight on Bridge City News, the driver who caused the Humboldt Broncos bus crash received 8 years behind bars today. Lethbridge Mayor Chris Spearman stopped by our studio to talk about how Lethbridge plans to honor Humboldt Bronco Logan Boulay, who donated 6 of his organs. And we have a chat with Chrissy Metz, star of the TV series This Is Us, who also stars in a new movie called Breakthrough. Thanks so much for joining us. The truck driver who caused the tragic Humboldt Broncos bus crash was sentenced to 8 years in prison today. Jaskrit Singh Sidhu listened to the sentence read out by the judge at a court in Melfort, Saskatchewan. It's been almost a year since Sidhu failed to stop at an intersection, killing 16 people and injuring 13 others. He pleaded guilty to 29 charges of dangerous driving. Sidhu said he took full responsibility for what happened. He says the accident occurred because of his lack of experience behind the wheel. An immigration lawyer in Toronto says Sidhu will likely be deported back to India after he serves his sentence. Lauren Waldman says permanent residents like Sidhu cannot stay in the country if they commit a crime for which their jail sentence is more than 6 months. Families of the Humboldt Broncos impacted by the tragedy reacted to the sentencing hearing earlier today.
We're disappointed. We knew we were going to be disappointed coming in, but we thought Judge Cardinal was very professional, very prepared. And I think she came back with the number that was probably the best for all the parties. It seems like it's something that would kind of appease our families, yet maybe not be appealable by the defendants.
Well, for me, it doesn't change anything. I guess for him it does, but for us, our life doesn't change. Adam doesn't come back. It certainly isn't closure. It's like Russell said, it's 6 months for Adam's life, and it was so preventable. And when you go to the crash scene and when you listen to or read all the police documents and all this stuff, it was so senseless that this happened. There was no reason for it. Running a stop sign is the basic thing you learn as a 2 or 3 year old driving a bicycle. It's awful.
Lethbridge Mayor Chris Spearman stopped by our studio recently to talk about Green Shirt Day, which is coming up on April 7th. It's a special way to honor the late Humboldt Bronco Logan Boulay, who donated 6 of his organs.
We want to support the Boulay family and support them through Green Shirt Day. Remember the legacy of Logan Boulay and the example he set for so many by signing his donor card. Many Albertans signed their donor cards when they heard about Logan's story, and we want to keep that legacy going.
Catch my full interview with Lethbridge Mayor Chris Spearman, who also has an update on the opioid crisis affecting our city. That's coming up in the second half of our show. The Lethbridge Hurricanes walked into the NMAC Centre earlier today with fresh haircuts and some with their hair bleached, all signs that playoff hockey is about to begin. As Ainsley O'Reilly explains, the Canes say they're ready for round 1 against the Calgary Hitmen.
The Lethbridge Hurricanes have won 8 straight, but tonight none of that matters. Playoff hockey is here. The Windy City took the season series, winning 5 of 6 games against the Calgary Hitmen. Their opponent tonight.
Anytime you could have a winning record against a team you're playing off against in the playoffs is massive. So I think we know, like I said, we know what we got to do, and I think our record shows that, and we just got to keep playing the way we know we can play, and I think we'll be fine.
When the Hurricanes are hot, they're hot. They've got 5 players in the top 15 of WHL points.
We feel we're real deep up front. We have a lot of guys who can score goals, and we have 4 strong lines. And on our back end, our guys are doing a good job moving the puck to our forwards. So we're an offensive team that likes to attack. We have a lot of threats.
I think we just have, we have so many high-end players that can, make plays at high speed and, put the puck in the net. So I think we just kind of use that to our advantage, and we just kind of go out there and have some fun with it.
It's hard not to focus on the Canes' regular season success. Head coach Brent Kissio is the first Hurricanes coach to record more than 40 wins in 3 separate seasons. This year was just the 7th time ever the Canes have reached the 40-plus win mark. Kissio sees himself as an NHL coach, but he wants to hoist the WHL trophy first.
Yeah, I think we all do. It's a development league. We all eventually want to coach in the National Hockey League, but I'd just like to win a championship here first.
For Bridge City News, I'm Ainsley O'Reilly.
The Alberta election is coming up April 16th. So far, it's looking pretty much like a two-horse race, the governing NDP and the UCP. But there are other options available to Albertans, including the Liberal Party and the Alberta Party. Zach Rodenizer is a provincial psychologist and a counsellor at 2 elementary schools. He's also a Lethbridge West candidate for the Alberta Party.
A lot of the mental health and quality of life problems that I see with our kids especially comes from more of a systemic, society-based problem. And so as I try, my goal in life is to reduce human suffering and to increase human flourishing. But working with kids individually, I found it's difficult to kind of break through some of those societal barriers. So I see some opportunities at the provincial level to invest more in our kids, to improve our mental health, and really to unite people, no matter where they are in the political spectrum. I and the Alberta Party offer a vision that most conservatives and most liberals can get behind. And that's something that's very rare in today's politics.
Zach says his main focus during the election campaign is to invest in prevention, which he says will save money in the long run when it comes to healthcare expenses. Spring has finally sprung. It's the perfect time to enjoy the 43rd annual Home and Garden Show at Exhibition Park. It features 275 exhibitors, from gardening experts to home decor and construction specialists. BCN's Loris Alexander made her way through the busy one-stop shop at Exhibition Park.
And they're back, returning for an incredible 43rd year. The Home and Garden Show rolled into Exhibition Park this week with barbecue sets, hunky contractors, and tiny treasures that will have you saying it might indeed be a small world after all.
We couldn't have had better weather to tie in with getting people really excited about coming out and getting prepared for their backyard and here at the Spring Home and Garden Show. And obviously the more exciting thing from a business standpoint for us is that we introduced our digital ticketing platform. From all accounts has been absolutely successful so far through our first 2 days.
Justin found a new way to work out.
Well, I jumped on one of these vibrating machines and saw it for about 5 or 6 minutes and really feeling the workout. It's definitely, you feel it throughout the body. It's actually moving my core as I'm standing on it. So
Bryce from Greener Homes says it's their 5th year at the show and they plan on coming back.
We're Greener Homes. We're Lethbridge and area's leading custom builder of energy efficient, healthy homes. We've been coming here for about 5 years now and we definitely love it. We see a lot of people coming in. Some are really interested in building, some are looking for inspiration, some people are looking for hot tubs or whatever they're after. It's great to have the nice conversations with them.
And this newcomer got an award-winning start.
Well, we won the Best New Vendor Award, and obviously we're excited to be here because it gets our brand out.
And while Lou simply loves shopping,
bargains, what's new, things that's interesting. Every year we come, I always end up with something.
many businesses says this show means a spike in business and networking.
We've been in this home show for about 4 years. We come every year. We get a lot of business out of this home show. It's huge for us. It's definitely gets a good start to the year since our business is pretty seasonal too.
We're super excited to be at the Home and Garden Show. It's a great place, I think, to make new connections, meet lots of people, see lots, and just be out in the community, and yeah.
It's an excellent event to meet all our current, past, and also new clients as well and show them what we have going on.
This is the largest home and garden show in southern Alberta and is on until tomorrow, March 23rd. Don't miss it. For Bridge City News, I'm Loris Alexander.
You may have noticed a strong odor when you turn on the taps in Lethbridge. The city has added more chlorine to its water supply. Officials say the water remains safe for drinking, cooking, and bathing. The spring runoff has affected the water quality being withdrawn from the river and entering the water treatment plant. Chlorine is used to disinfect the water to make it safe for drinking. The chemical destroys microorganisms that can pose a threat to public health. Environment Canada is forecasting sunshine for the days ahead, which means melting snow. And now is a good time to make sure your home sump pump is in good working order to protect against flooding.
Sump pump is something, I always recommend, right? Never a bad idea to have one. Not all homes are equipped with it. New homes are now. It is code within Lethbridge. Every basement and crawl space is susceptible to moisture penetration. It will happen eventually, whether it be a small amount or a large amount. A sump pump simply just gathers water up from the home's foundation and ejects it away from the home so it can run away properly. In Lethbridge, there are circumstances where you can put it into your wastewater system as well, but I always recommend having it ejected directly to the exterior and flown away from the property.
The average cost of water damage claims in Canada has increased by 40% over the last 10 years. Brian says you should take a look at your homeowner's insurance policy, as many do not cover sump pump failure. Traffic in downtown Lethbridge will be impacted tomorrow as the annual Moonlight Run takes place. The city says to watch out for detours and expect delays downtown Saturday afternoon and evening. The 200 block of 8th Street South will be closed from 3 till 11 p.m. for race setup. Both the westbound lanes and eastbound lanes of 3rd Avenue South from Stafford to Scenic Drive will also be closed from 10 till 6 p.m. There will also be no vehicle access to Indian Battle Park during the Moonlight Run. For more information about the run, check out the website moonlightrun.com. And this year's run is in honor of Brent Botfield, a former Moonlight Run committee member who passed away just a few months ago. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says while Jody Wilson-Raybould and Jane Philpott disagree with him over the SNC-Lavalin affair, they're still welcome in caucus.
They have indicated they want to continue to serve as Liberal members. They want to continue to run in the next election as Liberal members of Parliament, and that they share the goals we have and the focus we have on investing in the middle class, supporting Canadians right across the country, and moving forward on big things like this budget.
New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern and thousands of others gathered at a park opposite of the mosque where 50 people lost their lives on March 15th. The Prime Minister was observing a call to prayer and to remember the victims of the mosque attacks.
New Zealand mourns with you. We are one.
We are broken-hearted, but we are not broken. We are alive. We are together. We are determined to not let anyone divide us.
A ferry overloaded with people celebrating the Kurdish New Year and Mother's Day capsized in the Tigris River near Mosul. Officials say at least 83 people died, including families. Many of the dead were women and children who could be seen struggling to swim against a strong current. Mobile phone footage showed a young man jumping into the river and swimming towards the ferry to rescue those on board. The accident was the worst in recent memory, and the death toll is expected to rise. Breakthrough is a new movie based on the incredible true story of one mother's unwavering love in the face of impossible odds. It's in theaters on April 17th. Chrissy Metz, who you may recognize from the TV series This Is Us, stars in the film. She, along with executive producer Devon Franklin, join me now. Now, Devon, explain to our viewers exactly what the movie Breakthrough is all about.
Yes, Breakthrough is based on an incredible, impossible true story. I found this story a few years ago when I met the real family. And in essence, John Smith, a teenager, 14 years old at the time, was on a frozen lake. He fell through the ice when it cracked, and he was underneath the ice for 15 minutes without oxygen. They brought him back up. They rushed him to the emergency room. At that point, he was dead. They tried to revive him for another 45 minutes. They could not do it. They invited Joy Smith, his mother, who Chrissy plays, into the emergency room, and they said, it's time to say goodbye. But she said, I'm not saying goodbye. She prayed loudly over his body and said, Holy Spirit, bring back my son. Next thing you know, John Smith got his pulse back. And that began a miraculous recovery. And John Smith today is 18 years old, about to graduate high school, go on to college. And because his mother prayed, he now has life. And that, in essence, is the breakthrough story.
Chrissy, I'm sure that some people would favor a natural explanation. So how would you explain this story as actually being miraculous?
Well, aside from Joyce, believing and trusting that, her son was going to come back to life, it really... The through lines are that it brings the community together and this unwavering love, a mother's love for her son, and just that we're all, on a path and we're all purposeful. And I think that's what people are going to resonate with. No matter where you're from or what you believe in, that there's something that's undeniable through the story. And right. You're going to be touched by it.
Without a doubt.
You can't
Without
help
a
it.
Doubt.
Yeah.
So true.
Devon, did anyone come to know Christ through the making of this movie?
That actually, believe it or not, happened on set. There was one of, she wasn't a PA, she was in our assistant director department, and one of the bishops came when we did our set visit with the different faith leaders, came to visit the set, and she was inquiring about what was going on, and God and Jesus and so on and so forth, and the bishop right there, led her to Christ, and she accepted. So it's amazing to see that even in the making of the film, God has been all around it.
Mm-hmm.
Breakthrough hits theaters on April 17th. Thanks so much to both of you for joining me today. There are some great new movies playing at the Movie Mill this weekend, including another film starring The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Here's another Movie Mill Minute with Mr. Len Benning.
For the families out there with children, we present Race Time, an animated film that's sure to please. It's the story of a sled race through a village, and one party decides they're going to get the upper hand by cheating. Let's take a look.
My sled's better, and I'm just plain better. Let's do this!
In a remake of a fantastic film called The Untouchables, Bryan Cranston stars as a quadriplegic. Kevin Hart, who is out on parole, has the opportunity to become a caregiver in this heartwarming, touching film.
We're gonna find you someone you like.
Let me be your arms and your legs.
I love that. All right.
Penthouse.
You need to wait your turn.
Relax, it's not a holdup. Just sign this one, please.
How would I sign it?
I don't know. Slowly. Wait, don't your arms work?
They don't.
Our next film stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Fighting with My Family. It's a true and heartwarming story of a wrestling family given the chance to try out for WWE. Let's take a look.
Paige, I myself have come from a wrestling family too. I know exactly what it means to you. So don't worry about being the next me. Be the first you.
We're all with you, darling. I love you, Rob. Rob.
I love you too.
Looks like some great films at the Movie Mill once again. Lots of sunshine and mild temperatures again today, and a nice Saturday shaping up as well. I'll have a complete look at the weather picture in just a moment. We had another beautiful day in Lethbridge, lots of sunshine and warm temperatures. Tonight, just a few clouds developing with a low near 0. Tomorrow, a mixture of sun and cloud and a high near 14. A low pressure system returns on Sunday, bringing rain and a high of only +2. The clouds should clear on Monday, bringing us more sunshine and a high of 9. Expect 10 degrees on Tuesday. A cold front returns on Wednesday, bringing a slight chance of rain and a high of 7. Even cooler with a chance of showers mixed with snow and a high of 3 degrees on Thursday. Checking the almanac, the average high for this time of year is 7 and an average low of -6. The highest temperature of the state was recorded in 1939 at 22 degrees, and the record low was -22 in 1966. Sunrise was at 7:31, sunset at 7:46. Let's have a look at how tomorrow's shaping up across the country. Victoria will have light showers and 13, rain and 14 degrees for Vancouver. Partly cloudy and 9 degrees in Calgary tomorrow. A chance of showers and 3 for Edmonton. Sunshine at 12 is expected in Regina on Saturday. Mainly sunny and 4 for Saskatoon. Winnipeg will have sunshine and 7. Toronto will be mainly sunny and 6. Ottawa will have light snow and 1. Montreal will also receive flurries and should see a high of 3 degrees. In the Maritimes, Fredericton, New Brunswick had a rainfall warning today. Tomorrow, more rain is expected and a high near 2. Halifax also received a rainfall warning today. Rain mixed with flurries and a high near 3 tomorrow. Charlottetown, PEI will have light showers and 4. And in St. John's, Newfoundland, expect rain and a high near 12 degrees tomorrow. Canada's agriculture minister says there's been some movement this week from China in regards to the stopping of canola seed shipments from Winnipeg-based Richardson International. Beijing suspended canola imports from Richardson for what China alleged was the detection of hazardous organisms. Marie-Claude Bebeau says China has agreed to have scientists assess the organism's claim. The Canola Council of Canada says it is disappointed the impasse is not being resolved more quickly. The council says canola exporters report that Chinese importers are unwilling to purchase any Canadian canola seed right now. China has been a big market for Canadian canola, accounting for about 40% of all canola, seed, oil, and meal exports, worth $2.7 billion a year. Retail sales fell 0.3% to $50.1 billion in January. It's the third straight month of falling sales. Analysts had expected sales to increase 0.4% on a month-over-month basis. Stats Canada says falling sales at motor vehicle and parts dealers weighed on the results. Indonesia's flag carrier wants to cancel a multi-billion-dollar order for 49 Boeing 737 MAX 8 jets, citing a loss of confidence over 2 crashes in the past 6 months. It is the first cancellation since Boeing's new model aircraft were grounded following fatal crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia. A spokesperson for the airline, which ordered 50 MAX 8 jets in 2014 and so far has received just one, sent a letter to Boeing last week asking to cancel the order worth $4.9 billion. European Council President Donald Tusk says the fate of Brexit is now in the hands of our British friends. After a 2-day summit in Brussels, Tusk says there's nothing more the EU can do to help Prime Minister Theresa May. May resumes her battle in the UK Parliament to win the endorsement of the Brexit deal she agreed to with EU leaders back in November. The leaders have agreed to delay Brexit from March 29th to May 22nd if May succeeds. If she fails, the EU has given her until April 12th to come up with a new approach. Levi Strauss & Co., which gave us our first pair of blue jeans, is public for the second time. The stock, which is listed under the ticker Levi, opened for trading yesterday, up 31% on a very strong demand. There may be a little nostalgia involved for people. Now here's a look at today's markets. Recapping one of our top stories this hour, the truck driver involved in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash last April, Jaskrit Singh Sidhu, was sentenced to 8 years today. The judge read out the sentence at a court in Melfort, Saskatchewan. It has been nearly a year since Sidhu failed to stop at an intersection, killing 16 and injuring 13 others. He pleaded guilty to 29 counts of dangerous driving. Lethbridge Mayor Chris Spearman stopped by our studio earlier to talk about some of the biggest issues our city is facing, including the ongoing opioid crisis. Watch that full interview next. But first, here's a look what's happening in and around your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. Stockfest 2019 is a benefit event supporting the Lethbridge Football Club and Kids Sport on Saturday, March 23rd at the Service Sports Center beginning at 7:30 p.m. Enjoy live music by the Bamboo Guppies, silent and live auctions, a 50-50 draw, and much more. Tickets are $20 in advance or $25 at the door. Purchase yours today by calling the Lethbridge Soccer Association at 403-320-5425. Another amazing event taking place Saturday, March 23rd is the Spirit of Spring Concert, presented by the Lethbridge Community Gold Band, featuring the Medicine Hat Allegro Community Band at 7 p.m. at College Drive Community Church. Tickets are $15 each and children 12 and under are free. Purchase your tickets today at CASA or go online at lcbs.yapcity.com. Do you have a heart to serve our community? Streets Alive Mission is looking for volunteers to help serve hot meals, assist with Fit Friday, and help sort incoming donations. Visit streetsalive.ca to fill out their volunteer application or call 403-320-1159. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
It's been a busy few weeks here in Lethbridge with some major events coming to our city, and there's lots yet to come. We'll talk more about that in just a moment here with Lethbridge Mayor Chris Spearman joins me once again in studio. Welcome back to BCN.
I'm always happy to be here, Hal.
Wonderful. So Mayor Spearman, federal budget came down recently. Any new potential projects in supporting some infrastructure here in Lethbridge?
Yep. Well, the city of Lethbridge always has about a dozen projects available. We have our priorities, of course, but certainly what happens is when the federal or the provincial government announces a funding program, we try to see how our projects fit in with those. So we see some opportunities for cities. Cities were, I think there's $2.1 billion announced for capital projects for cities, and we want to make sure the city of Lethbridge gets its share. Some of the things we're looking at, of course, is the airport project. We're looking at possibly a performing arts center funding, possibly Indigenous interpretive center funding. Those are some of them.
That'll help towards reconciliation too, won't it? Right?
It certainly will. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at how we can qualify for those. We're waiting for the details of those programs to come out so we can understand what the application process looks like and make sure that we're at the front of the queue.
The writ's been dropped. April 16th, we're going to the polls. And generally that means the governing party likes to dish out some pre-election goodies. Premier Notley was in town recently and talking about some new extended care beds, 2,000 for the province. What will that mean for the seniors here in our city?
Well, Lethbridge tends to be a retirement center. People from the rural surrounding areas, as well as the people in the city, see Lethbridge as a viable, pleasant place to live in your retirement. So we do have an ongoing need for seniors beds, and it's great to see that the provincial government plans to support us.
And Transport Minister Brian Mason was also in town recently, $100 million. The new bridge, construction to begin, I think, in 2022. But it's not a third bridge. Everybody's asking, are we getting a third bridge?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No. So I think kudos to the province for coming through with that funding. I think there'll be some frustration in that it isn't a third bridge, but I think some relief as well. I think the province has recognized that the Highway 3 bridge does need to be widened. We need to address the safety issues on Bridge Drive coming onto Highway 3. But in the future, we're never sure when, the province is going to make a decision to route Highway 3 around the city of Lethbridge. Having a commitment to replace and repair and upgrade the Highway 3 bridge will mean that the city of Lethbridge won't inherit a $100 million liability. That's the most meaningful part of that announcement, is that they've committed to fix the bridge before they build the highway around the city.
A lot of people are pretty excited as well with ATB Phase 2. Just around the corner, Cor Van Ray Center, people working out at the new YMCA. Let's talk a bit about that.
Well, we're really excited to see the field house come online with the wave pool, with the lazy river, with all kinds of features that exist in modern day leisure centers. So we're excited. The first week in May, it should be open to the public, and we're very close to substantial completion of the building now. We expect to turn it over to the YMCA in April. They have a few weeks to train their staff, and then it becomes open to the public, and it's going to change the face of Lethbridge.
I live on the west side, and I'll tell you, I'm pretty excited about it, and so are a lot of my friends. Mayor, let's talk a bit about the opioid crisis. It's rearing its ugly head again. A new report recently came out, said in the last 3 years, it's basically tripled across the province. Opioids getting really bad. What is it looking like right now outside of Arches, the safe injection and consumption site in Lethbridge? What are you seeing? What are you hearing on the streets?
Well, last year was a difficult summer for us for the presence of visible drug users. The city has addressed that by funding the Lethbridge Police Services with $2.1 million in additional funding for the Watch program and for the peace officers in our city. In addition, the city has developed a 12-step program to work with the business community, and so that information is rolling out. We expect to have everything in place by the summer, so that's exciting. We want to address the issue head on. We're having regular meetings with the downtown community, and this coming Monday, if I may say that.
Sure, yeah.
At the next City Council,
right.
Next community issues meeting.
Yeah.
At the next community issues meeting,
yeah.
We will be having the presentation on the neighborhood consultation process.
What time is that at?
Community process, 1:30 on Monday.
1:30 on Monday, okay,
yeah.
That's good.
So the community consultation process report will come to council, and we will hear what the views of citizens are. So interestingly, we see some great statistics. The number of needles being distributed has declined dramatically. From highs of 26,000 a month, it's down to about 12,000 a month, with about 5,000 being distributed within the city of Lethbridge.
That's good.
The number of needles collected consistently is double the numbers of needles that are distributed by Arches. So that's a clear indication, that's month after month, going back for more than a year, that the needles collected exceed the number of needles distributed. So clearly the needles are coming from somewhere else in addition to Arches.
Last time I chatted with Police Chief Rob Davis, he was saying that meth is a real issue in our city as well.
Yep.
What is that looking like now?
What we're seeing right now is about 58% opioids, about 42% meth. The proportion of meth has grown as in Lethbridge as it has in other cities. The challenge with meth is that it's very inexpensive. And so it's an easy drug to use. For $5, you get a 24-hour hit. You know, it's that's the challenge with having something like meth, and it leads to more aggressive, unpredictable behavior.
Now, is that meth coming from Calgary, Edmonton, maybe up from the States, or is it just made locally here in Lethbridge? Like meth labs around the city?
I believe it's being brought in consistently, but certainly very much a concern. You know, all kinds of drug use. How we stop the supply is the first step. We have a drug issue first. There are very many people that want to blame Arches or blame others, but the problem is the drugs are here. And so we have to stop the supply, and then we have to provide something in addition to the supervised consumption site. We need to get people on the path to treatment and recovery.
What do you say to a viewer who is watching our program right now and says, you know, I'm thinking of moving to Lethbridge, bringing my family and my business. I'm an entrepreneur, self-employed, but that drug crisis is really worrying me. How would you put their fears at ease?
Well, many other cities, I've worked with the mayors across Alberta, are dealing with exactly the same drug crisis. So it's a challenge as cities get to a certain level, and here we are, about 100,000 people, we're starting to experience big city problems. I think for the most part, the drug crisis doesn't affect the lives of most people living in the city. And we are trying to manage it and respond in situations where it does.
Okay, on a more positive note, let's chat about the U Sports Men's Hockey Championships. Unfortunately, the Pronghorns were knocked out the first game, right?
Yeah.
But what does that mean to the city, having world-class hockey like that, university hockey in our town?
I thought it was amazing, and combined with Rogers' hometown hockey the very same weekend, City got a lot of very positive publicity. It indicates that Lethbridge can host world-class and national level events, and we look forward to hosting more. So in the first week of April, we will be hosting the World Men's Curling Championships, and that's tremendous that we have the capacity to do that. And in June, there'll be a PGA golf tournament again.
That's wonderful. Okay, what about with the curling and even with the PGA tournament? What does that mean economically for a lot of business owners, and how much money can the city really make from something like that?
Well, I think it's a tremendous event to host because they're here for a full week. So,
hotel rooms and restaurants.
Yep, and so we're going to have those world teams, and we're going to have the spectators, fans from all over the world here in the city. And certainly, I understood that when the U Sports men's hockey teams were here for those few days, all the hotels were pretty much full. Tremendous, but to have that for a week, it's an even bigger event, plus the exposure on national and international television.
Now, speaking of hockey, the Canes are taking on the Calgary Hitmen, round one of the playoffs. A lot of people in Lethbridge and surrounding area are pretty excited about it. Go Canes all the way. But now the Canes are going to be displaced a little bit for a few games. They're going to be playing in the Nicholas Sharon Arena out of the NMAG Center, and they're being compensated for that, right?
Well, the thing to remember is I always take the optimistic point of view. The first two games of the series are at home in Lethbridge in the NMAX Center.
Right.
And if they go on to sweep the series, we may not have to displace the Hurricanes for games. So I understand that games let me see. I think it's games 5 and 7 would potentially could be held at the Nicholas Sharon Arena. But certainly if the Canes win in 4 or 5 games, there's minimal displacement. I think the important thing is to look at the benefit to the whole city and the whole community. There's certainly revenue that's going to be generated from World Curling, and we understand there's an impact to the Hurricanes, and we want to compensate them for any financial loss.
And that's $85,000, right?
They $85,000 per game. And
how did you come up with the number, though?
Based on ticket sales for those games, lost ticket sales, and lost associated revenue with that. So that was worked out with the Hurricanes.
So around 250 exhibitors are taking part in the Home and Garden Show at Exhibition Park. It's a lot of fun. What does that mean for the city, too?
Again, it's another draw for the city of Lethbridge. It's an opportunity. It tells people also that spring is here. And
thank you, Lord.
Yeah, here's things that we can be thinking about as the weather gets warmer and we get more sunshine. So, Home and Garden Show is the first major exhibit of spring. So, tremendous.
Now, the new 311 system is operational for the city of Lethbridge. How well is it functioning so far?
Very well. So,
any issues? Any problems with it?
No.
I mean, any new system has a bug. Come on,
Well, actually, we've been. It's been in partial effect before it was publicly announced. So we were working out a lot of the bugs, and so people were dialing 403-320-3850 for some things. They were dialing other numbers for other things, but basically 311 is for non-essential city services. 911 always if there's an emergency, but 311 is for there's an issue in my neighborhood that needs attention, right? My local park needs attention. We've got pothole issues, and we've got street sweeping issues. So those type of things, and we have real people will answer the phone and talk about your emergency, get all the details, and then you'll be informed as to how the issue is being resolved.
A gentleman we had on our show recently, Tyler Hamilton, was the recipient of a kidney from his wife. It was an amazing, beautiful love story. And let's chat a bit about organ donation, and specifically Green Shirt Day, which is coming up next month, honoring the Boulay family and Logan Boulay.
Right. Sunday, April the 7th, Green Shirt Day. So the city's providing a skating area at the ATB Center. I think between 4 and 6 o'clock, people will be able to come out, skate for Green Shirt Day. We want to support the Boulay family and support them through Green Shirt Day. Remember the legacy of Logan Boulay and the example he set for so many. By signing his donor card, we encourage everyone in Lethbridge to sign their organ donor card. And remember, let your relatives know that you've signed your card. In the event that you have an unfortunate, tragic, life-ending incident, you will help others. I think only about 6% of Canadians have signed their donor cards. Wow. It's a relatively small portion. Many Albertans signed their donor cards when they heard about Logan's story, and we want to keep that legacy going.
It's interesting, when I was talking with the Hamilton family, they were sharing with me that if you get an organ from a deceased donor, the organ will last around 8 years on average. But if the person's a living donor, it'll last forever, or as long as you live.
Wow.
So that was interesting, right? So
yeah.
The Christchurch shootings at the 2 mosques shook a lot of us here around North America and around the world. It was very tragic what happened. Have you talked to the Muslim community here in Lethbridge, and do they feel safe in the mosques here and the imams in our community in Lethbridge?
I went to an event at the Muslim mosque here in Lethbridge on Friday, the day following the shootings in Christchurch, and I was there for a prayer service and then had the opportunity to speak to the Muslim community who were there. We all understood that this could have happened anywhere. And certainly that creates a sense of vulnerability, and no one wants to be a target. In the city of Lethbridge, we want people to feel safe, and we want them to feel part of our community, regardless of their religious beliefs, the color of their skin, where they're from. Our city motto is Gateway to Opportunity. It's opportunity for all. But I think everyone in the mosque and anyone in the city of Lethbridge can understand the loss of innocent children, the horror of that type of a crime.
Well, there was a father-son that left war-torn Syria wanting to come to New Zealand to escape all of the war.
Yeah.
And tragically, they lost their lives in Friday prayers, so it shook a lot of us to the core, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
That could happen to anyone, and
Our churches here, it could happen.
When you understand that it's mothers and fathers, it's children, it's you understand that they're family members. We can all put ourselves in the same place, and recognize how wrong that is, and how we all have to work together to say that's not acceptable in our society. This is happening all too often. It happened in Quebec City. Can happen in Canada. We see many incidents happening south of the border where people pick up an automatic weapon, go into a school, go into a place of worship, and kill dozens of people, innocent people. And we have to find ways to stop that, to say that's not acceptable. We don't celebrate that. And we have to look at our justice system. We have to find ways to have deterrence, and we have to look at the way that weapons are made available to people who don't really need them.
Yeah, no easy answers, that's for sure. Lethbridge Mayor Chris Spearman, thanks again for joining me in studio.
It's always a pleasure, Hal. Thank you.
March is National Kidney Month, and kidney disease is a serious problem in Canada. To talk about this more is Joyce Van Derzen, Executive Director of the Kidney Foundation of Canada, Southern Alberta Branch. Joyce, welcome to BCN.
Thanks for having me.
So how much of a problem is kidney disease? How far widespread is it in Canada?
Well, most Canadians don't realize what a huge problem kidney disease really is. In Canada, 1 in 10 people have kidney disease or are at serious risk. They're in the risk zone. But you know, the scariest part of all about that is most don't even know it, because kidney disease, the symptoms can be very silent, and it can progress very, very silently until it's a very serious issue.
So Joyce, what age groups are we talking about here? Does it affect everyone?
Well, kidney disease can affect anyone at any age. Of course, as we all age, not that I'm aging, but of course, as we all age, our risk factors grow. Because, for example, the number one leading cause of kidney disease is diabetes. Kidney failure, kidney damage is the leading complication of diabetes, and followed by, that's about 38-39% of the people whose kidneys fail got there because of diabetes, and 18 to 20% get there because of untreated or poorly managed hypertension, high blood pressure. So as we age, our risk factors for those things also increase. So really the 50 plus crowd has to start thinking a lot about these things, but at all ages. They do affect children, they affect people of any age. And kidney disease, there's many ways you can get there. I've just mentioned the 2 leading ways.
Yeah, and what are some of the signs? How will you know if you actually have a serious problem with your kidneys?
Well, lots of times you don't know it until it has seriously progressed. So what I like to suggest, and what the recommended guidelines are, if you have diabetes, you should get your kidney function checked annually as part of your annual physical checkup plan. And with hypertension as well, it should be checked regularly every year, certainly every 18 months to a year. Your kidney function should also be checked by your doctor at the same time. If you have none of those things and you don't think you're at risk for kidney disease, you should still be watching things like, are your hands and feet swelling? Do your legs swell? A little bit of unexplained swelling, unexplained foam in the urine when you go to the washroom. If it looks a bit odd to you, a change in color. to the urine, and many other things. If you have a family history of kidney disease, you should pay attention, right, to your own health indicators. Absolutely. So all of those sorts of things you should be paying attention to.
Now, most of us have heard about dialysis treatments for kidney patients, which is not a cure. Can you explain to our viewers what a patient experiences in a dialysis treatment and what it really does to the body?
Sure. Well, a dialysis treatment, when your kidneys stop working or are working poorly, toxins are building up in your body because your kidneys are really a giant filter. All of your blood filters through the kidneys, and the kidneys take out those toxins and they're excreted through your urine. But if your kidneys are not working properly, you're retaining water and you are building up toxins in your system. So when your kidneys fail, you either have to have dialysis to stay alive or a kidney transplant. And think of dialysis as a giant filter. All your blood is going through a filter to cleanse your blood in the way that your kidneys otherwise would have. And it's removing all the excess fluid that's accumulating in your system because your kidneys aren't working properly. So those are just some of the big things that dialysis does for you. But if your kidneys fail, you need dialysis or a kidney transplant to stay alive.
So Joyce, once someone starts dialysis treatment, what's the typical prognosis? How many years of life expectancy is there on average?
Well, again, it's varies by individual, but because most people who do start dialysis are over 60, 63 years in age, they have age complicating factors. So the average is 3 to 4 years. But of course, many people, and that's our goal, if your kidneys fail, that you can survive on dialysis and try to maintain a healthy life by following all the restrictions that now come into your life, mainly dietary restrictions, because you want to avoid putting things in your body that become harder to filter out. And since you can't, if your kidneys fail, you no longer will produce urine, fluids build up in your body as well. And that's all taken off with dialysis. So, it's a complicating thing. Our goal is not to get there in the first place, to avoid the progression of kidney damage. There's huge opportunity to do that. If you detect kidney damage early enough, there's a tremendous opportunity to slow down the progression so you never get to dialysis. That's why it's important to check your kidney function. On our nationwide website, kidney.ca, we have a test that you can take at kidney disease. Am I at risk? You can do a self-assessment to see, do I have any of these risk factors for kidney disease? And if so, what should I do? And every Canadian can go on there and look at that resource and determine if they have any personal risk factors they should be aware of.
Joyce, is there any chance to reverse the damage already done to kidneys if it's detected early enough?
There are no opportunities at this point to reverse kidney damage or kidney failure. That's what we're working on for the future. That's the promise of research, and that's why our investment in kidney research is so critically important, because that's the hope. We are looking for a cure, and a cure means ways to reverse it, to fix it once it already occurs. Right now, that opportunity doesn't exist. The opportunity is really around prevention and by early detection mainly, and slowing the progression of any kidney damage that occurs.
So Joyce, outside of it being hereditary, what are some of the causes for kidney disease?
The main causes are diabetes and high blood pressure. That are both of those things are the two leading causes. If they're not managed and not controlled properly, the risk for serious kidney damage is quite high.
So is there a specific kind of diet or exercise routine recommended for kidney health? Drinking lots of water is probably number one, right?
Yes, well, the right amount of water is good to, cleanse those toxins out, put those kidneys to work. And also, it's really the main things about maintaining good overall health. Maintain a healthy diet, maintain a healthy body weight, and no smoking, none of that kind of stuff. Those are sort of the basics. If you have a personal serious risk factor like diabetes, there are special things that you can do, and your doctor will advise you of those things if you have those risk factors. But if you're just the average person aging along in our society, it's all about maintaining very good overall health.
So the reality is the only cure at this point is a kidney transplant?
Well, a kidney transplant is not a cure. It will replace the function of your kidneys. If your kidneys fail, you need dialysis or a new kidney via a transplant. But you will need medication for the rest of your life to prevent rejection of the kidney transplant. And a kidney transplant lasts an average of 15 to 18 years. So depending on your age, you may need another one. So it's not a cure. You can live a good, healthy life with a kidney transplant, but you will need anti-rejection medications for the rest of your life. And those medications do come with their own risks.
Joyce, a very special event is coming up right here in Lethbridge. Why don't you chat a bit about that?
Sure. Our annual kidney walk is coming up in Lethbridge on May 11th, and it's at the gorgeous Henderson Lake Park. So we're really inviting everybody who cares about the cause of kidney health, organ donation, any of that, to come on out. Even if walking isn't for you, come out and cheer everybody on, socialize with us. It's really our kidney community event of the year, so we'd love to see you.
And if people would like more information, where can they find that?
They can find it at kidneywalk.ca. They can check that out, and it'll give you the starting time, all that. Come out about 9 in the morning, hang out with us. We'd love to see everybody.
Okay, well, we're going to chat with another guest in just a few moments who received a life-saving kidney transplant courtesy of his wife. Thanks so much, Joyce. Joyce Van Derzen, Executive Director of the Kidney Foundation of Canada, Southern Alberta Branch. Thanks for joining me from Calgary.
Thank you.
Joining me now in studio is someone who had a life-saving kidney transplant, Tyler Hamilton from Lethbridge. Tyler, can you briefly share with our viewers your journey?
Yeah. In 2011, I actually was diagnosed with kidney disease, and it was actually very shocking for me and my whole family, actually. It was, we were just actually in the doctor, and I was getting some blood work done, and there was some blood in my urine, which is one sign of actually having kidney disease. So they actually ran more testing, and it turned out that, yeah, my kidney actually did need to be replaced. So from there on in, I was basically put on dialysis. I was on dialysis for, it was probably close to a year.
How often did you have to go in?
This was every second day I had to go in for it.
Wow. Is it painful, dialysis, having it done?
It's not painful. It's just you feel very nauseous, lightheaded, dizzy, things like that when you're done.
Now, donor was found, and miraculously, it was your wife.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit about that.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most exciting times and happy times I've had in my life, is when my wife was actually found out that she could be a donor.
That's amazing. So she gives you a kidney as a gift. It's like, maybe happy anniversary, honey. Here's a kidney. What are you going to give her back?
I know. That's
lots of loves and kisses. I guess a big hug, maybe.
A hug, yeah.
Maybe make dinner for the next 3 years.
I do that as well. I've always been doing that, but yeah, I have to step up my game with that too as well.
Now, was it scary for your wife at all, or was it scary for you too, as her husband, the fact that she's donating a kidney to you?
I don't think it was scary. I think that she was willing to do whatever it took to help me out and make me healthy again. I think that was the main thing. But as far as being scared or worrying about the outcome, there was none of that involved at all.
And you have a child as well that says, Dad, if you ever need a kidney in the future?
Yeah, my daughter Alyssa actually, she's actually already, said she's going to give another kidney if I need it in the future. Now, I'm hoping that doesn't come to that, but yeah, she's my 19-year-old, my only daughter, and yeah, it's pretty cool that she'd actually do that for me. Everybody's
talking about, of course, the Humboldt Broncos bus crash and Logan Boulet donating 6 of his organs to save 6 lives. What does that mean to you when you hear a story like that?
It's actually quite heartbreaking for me to hear that. It's, I wish more people would actually sign their donor cards. I don't think you would have anything to lose at that point by signing your donor card. It's so easy for everybody to do. Why not save, 6 to however many people's lives, 6 to 10 probably people's lives you can save with organs. And I think that's just a miraculous thing to do.
Now, you have the one kidney and you're able to eat everything fine, drink normal fluids, and people can live on one kidney just fine?
Yeah, I mean, I live perfectly fine on one kidney. I do have to watch some things, like salt, like sodium intake and things like that.
What about alcohol? You have to stay away from that too?
Alcohol, I'm actually okay to drink some alcohol as long as it's not, abusive.
In moderation, like Mom used to say, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't drink at all anymore though, so
good.
Try to stay healthy.
How about some of the meds, Tyler, that you have to stay on?
Yeah, meds, I'm on 2 actual anti-rejection medications. And with taking those, I actually get high blood pressure, high cholesterol. So I have to take those medications as well. So, yeah.
For the rest of your life?
Rest of my life,
wow.
Yeah, every day.
So what would you say to someone, Tyler, who's considering maybe becoming an organ donor, but maybe a little bit nervous?
I would say there's nothing to be nervous about. You can live perfectly fine with one kidney. I mean, why wouldn't someone want to save someone else's life? It's just that easy to do, I'm sure there's many people out there that could use a kidney right now. There's thousands of people waiting right now on a kidney list. So.
And tell me about your recovery effort too. How long was it?
All in all, my recovery effort, it took probably 3 months by the time I was actually healthy enough to walk around and, get back to doing regular things on a regular basis.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Tyler Hamilton from Lethbridge, kidney donation recipient. Thanks so much for joining us here on Bridge City News.
Thanks for having me.
On behalf of all of us here at BCN, I'm Hal Roberts. God bless and have a great night.